introduction. Today's date is Friday the 26th of February 2021 and I'm filming today a herb and cheese omelette for the benefit of the students who are not actually here in class today. So you can see that I've got everything ready on the bench. I've got my board with a non-slip mat and I'm wondering what I need it for now. I've got all my ingredients on the tray and I'm about to demonstrate and show everybody how to light a stove top. The gas stove tops is what we've got on every one of our ovens there in our consoles. You have to first make sure you push the knob in and turn it around to what's called the flash icon on the actual button. So you have to make sure you're lining up the correct knob with the correct area on the stove. In this case, the very first one is the bottom right hand corner. I'm turning it around to the flash point and I'm sticking my lighter into, or just underneath, where it lights what's called a thermocouple. The thermocouple gets hot and you still hold it in possibly for about, maybe about 5 seconds, let go and turn it on, and it turns on to full speed to start with. If you keep turning the knob, then it goes right down. So at this point in time, I want to just make sure that that's on. So I want to heat the pan. This is not a very good omelette pan, and I've given it a bit of a wipe before, and it looks like it could really do with a good salting and proving, but I don't have time for that today. So I'm just wiping it out, and I'm just going to leave it sitting there because that will sterilise it as well as heat it up, which is what we need. I've got a bowl for my scrap and I've got a bowl to mix up my eggs. Okay, so the recipe, as I've said before, is a herb and cheese omelette. Now you're going to be growing your own herbs, as you know. So would you like to take one and pass them along, just so you can all follow along the recipe with me? Your herbs will not be grown in time, so we're going to be using just a mixture of dried herbs today. Okay, so the first thing we do, it says use a fork to whisk the eggs, but I'm going to use this. Can anybody tell me what this is called? A balloon whisk. Excellent. Write down an exact description of what it is. So you put your eggs into the bowl. Okay, it says whisk the eggs and milk together, making sure I don't have any drips. And then it says season with salt and pepper, and basically you're putting everything, I like a lot of pepper, putting everything into the bowl. Now with the salt, I tend to measure that out at the side, so I'm not tipping in, so that it's not free running and I'm not putting in too much. So into there, I'm also going to measure out my herbs. It says in the recipe 3 teaspoons of chives and parsley. Now Mrs. already mixed these up for me, okay, but I actually don't want so much in my omelette, and so I'm only going to put in probably 1 tablespoon of both of those. Stab the yolks and basically mix. Now the more you mix this, you'll see that you get some bubbles on top and it aerates. So the more bubbles you get, the fluffier your omelette should be. You see how it goes. I did struggle the other day to get a nice omelette from this omelette pan, but we'll give it another go. So that's it essentially. Once you've got all the nice bubbles there, you sit it on your bench next to your pan. Into the pan, I'm just going to turn it up just a little bit. I'm just melting the butter. Notice, because you're supposed to be using a non-stick pan, you do not want to be using anything metal on this pan. You only use something plastic, and obviously you don't leave it for too long because plastic melts. Okay, so when it says use a fork to mix it, don't use the same fork to actually mix it around in the omelette pan. Okay, I'm just going to give that a blast. because this happens all too quickly. Turn it down a bit. So I'm pouring all my mixture, and it should sizzle just a little bit into the pan. And then you just gently tease your omelette in from the edges to stop it sticking and getting really brown around the edges. Try and keep it moving. Now I don't want to mix it all completely. Why is that? If I keep doing this, yeah, it will be scrambled eggs, of course. So essentially, a non-stick pan, I should be able to move that mixture now, and it should move for me. It's starting to come together, but again, the pan is not very great. Anyway, we do what we can. It's starting to move a little bit on this edge, you can see, and I'm bringing it in. Now when it starts to go just a little bit more dry on the top, start to move my hand. So then we take our cheese, it's still wet, and we just pop our cheese across the top. You can see how that's moving, and the camera sees how that's moving so gently. Now a proper omelette, if it's too dry, it's overcooked. So then you take your plate, and you take your pan, I actually might just do this this time, just to make sure it flips over. Okay. Yeah. Bottom edge. Is your bread and cheese omelette. Make sure you switch off the gas when you're finished, and make sure, if you can, try not to burn yourself, but wash the pan straight away. The reason you do that is everything will come off if you wash it while it's still hot, and you can use the brushes for that. So wash it while it's still hot, dry it while it's still hot, beautiful, and then leave it to cool. It's just a lot easier to wash that way. Okay, you can